Coming up on WUFT's First at 5, details on former President Ben Sass's spending history while in office has been revealed.
Fighting child literacy in Alachua County, the challenges amongst non-speaking native speaker children and teens in the public school system have proven persistent.
Francine made landfall yesterday, and today severe weather and flooding are rocking the Florida Panhandle. We are tracking the storms. WUFT's First at 5 starts now.
Florida's College of Journalism and Communications. You're watching WUFT News.
We're learning more about just how much money former UF President Ben Sass spent during his tenure. This is WUFT's First at 5. I'm Nick Diaz.
And I'm Kirsten Maselka. Our partners at Fresh Take Florida discovered Sass spent tens of thousands on events like a holiday party. According to information obtained under Florida's public records law, Sass spent over $1 million on event catering alone. This includes spending around $900 per guest for a sushi bar at his December holiday party. And on a game day tailgate, Fresh Take Florida reports Sass used more than $30,000 to cater those events. The UF rulebook states every effort must be made to keep catering for official meetings under $75 per guest. However, Sass's holiday party cost 12 times this. UF officials declined to comment to WUFT on the holiday party and other extravagant catering under Sass. The former president's spending trends are nearly double that of his predecessor, interim President Kent Fox. A Marion County man is facing a life sentence after being convicted of sexual abuse of a child. 51-year-old Brian Patrick McCoy was found guilty on all 4 accounts he was charged with. In addition to the life sentence, McCoy was sentenced to an additional 15 years on other charges involving child pornography. Back in 2019, McCoy was arrested after detectives received a tip he was in possession of inappropriate images of children. He was a registered sex offender at the time.
Kimberly's Center for Child Protection, Marion County Sheriff's Office, and the Ocala Police Department are hosting a town hall to discuss steps to fight against the rise in internet crimes targeting the youth. Marion County parents are welcome to attend this free event, which will feature talks from detectives actively investigating these types of cases. The meeting will convene on Monday at 6 p.m. at the CF Weber Center.
More than 10 million people in the South are under flood alerts from the remnants of Hurricane Francine. When the storm made landfall, the hurricane was a Category 2 with winds around 100 miles per hour. The flooding caused by the rainfall has become the deadliest threat of tropical storms in the last decade. Multiple tornado threats were also issued earlier today in southern Alabama and the Florida Panhandle.
We even had our protective dam up, we even had the sandbags up.
And all of a sudden we saw water starting to come in from all different areas of the house.
More than 400,000 homes and businesses are without power in Louisiana and Mississippi.
The UF weather radar is showing heavy storms and showers moving across north central Florida. It's been a wet week across the region, and parts of Florida like the Panhandle are getting soaked from Francine. There's been flash flooding and tornadoes along the coast earlier today as the outer rain bands from Francine moves through the peninsula. UF forecaster Matthew Clark joins us now with what we can expect this evening as storms arrive.
So although the core of Francine has made its way well up north into the Midwest, Francine is still bringing in a lot of moisture into our area, bringing in some strong storms and showers. Now, most of these showers and storms are well off the coast. Cedar Key seeing some strong rain, though, Cross City as well. Some scattered cells as well through Stark and up and through Jacksonville, and a lot over the Atlantic right now. 80 degrees in Gainesville, 83 in Ocala, and 84 in Crystal River. Seeing upper 70s just because of the rain coverage, getting a break from the heat. As we head into the later parts of the evening, those storms are going to be possible, and as we head into the overnight hours, those temperatures are going to drop into the upper 70s.
Almost 10 months after his arrest, 50-year-old Joffrey Lush still cannot stand trial after his mental incompetence was reinforced today in court. Lush allegedly threatened to shoot those in the Shabbat Lubavitch Jewish Student Center in November of last year. He allegedly vandalized the center as well. Lush made his plea of not guilty and was declared mentally incompetent in April. His legal team was in court today for a forensics hearing to reinforce his declaration, pushing Lush's trial for September 11th, 2025.
Arrests are underway in Lake Butler after months of undercover drug investigations with the Union and Bradford County Joint SWAT team. Bradford and Union County law enforcement is combing through search and drug arrest warrants involving the main players in this operation. The arrest began midday on Wednesday for various charges, including drug possession, trafficking, and sales. The arrest continued into the evening. As of now, 7 members of the operation are behind bars. The Union County Sheriff's Office says there are more arrests to come. Alachua County ranks high on statewide literacy rates in elementary schools. However, schools face learning gaps for non-English speaking speakers. WUFT's Jenna Rothberg joins us live in the studio to tell us about an event focused on literacy for bilingual children.
To combat language challenges and encourage early learning, Alachua County Libraries in the city of Gainesville host events like Storytime at the Park. I went with WFT's Valentina Sandoval to learn more about reading in early childhood. Here's what we found. Kids singing, dancing, and learning about science and space. It's all part of Alachua County's libraries, Bilingual Storytime. Anita Aguirre brought her child here to expose her to multiple languages and encourage her to read and write through fun activities.
Being exposed to it since a very young age really helps.
Early education is key. Here at the library, kids can learn outside of the classroom. Children's librarian Colleen Tobin wants parents to teach through action.
If you're a parent that's just like always on your phone or always watching TV and you don't read books yourself, then the kids might not.
Alachua County has a 21% gap in language arts achievement between English learners and native speakers. Voluntary pre-kindergarten coordinator for Alachua County Public Schools, Trisha Rodriguez, says the key is an individualized early learning.
The children that come to us at 4 years old and we have them a whole entire year and they have good attendance and they're here every day, and they get the most out of the instruction and they absolutely show the most growth.
In efforts to close the literacy gap, the school district came up with the solution, the program. Home instruction for parents of preschool youngsters, or HIPPY.
Not only does it help the students when they're in the class with each other, the parents seem to really partner and collaborate with each other.
Rodriguez hopes to see more growth through these initiatives aimed at keeping kids active and learning every day. The Storytime event happens the second Thursday of every month, generally in the park. The weather didn't permit this time. Live in the studio, Jenna Rothberg, WFT News.
The First District Court of Appeal and a 3-judge panel heard arguments Wednesday in the legal battle between Florida State University and the Atlantic Coast Conference continues. The ACC argues a lawsuit it filed in North Carolina should have priority over a lawsuit that FSU filed in Florida. The outcome of the cases could determine whether FSU leaves the athletic conference. The ACC filed a lawsuit in December in North Carolina against FSU, a day before the university sued the conference in Leon County Circuit Court. ACC attorney Alan Lawson argues that the lawsuit filed in North Carolina should take priority over the Florida case.
There is nothing extraordinary and nothing nefarious about the timing of the ACC's lawsuit or the forum that it chose.
FSU argues that their agreement with the ACC cut them out of profits through television contracts. University legal representatives are saying a North Carolina court shouldn't be deciding on a Florida-based dispute.
The Florida Supreme Court on Thursday heard arguments about the constitutionality of a congressional redistricting plan that Governor Ron DeSantis has pushed through legislature in 2022. Voting rights groups went to the Supreme Court after the First District Court of Appeal in December upheld the redistricting plan. The case centers on North Florida Congressional District 5, which in the past elected Black Democrat Al Lawson, but was overhauled in 2022. Christina Ford is an attorney for the voting rights groups and says there's history involved with this district.
There was over 100 years between Reconstruction when Florida elected its first Black representative to Congress, and the Florida voters enacted the Fair District Amendments with that history in mind.
But State Solicitor General Henry Whitaker argues that keeping a district similar to the one that had elected Lawson would be an unconstitutional racial gerrymander under the Constitution's Equal Protection Clause. The disputed plan will be used again in the November elections, as it typically takes the Supreme Court months to rule in cases after hearing arguments. Coming up next, when First at 5 returns, get more Gainesville neighbors to hit the mats, where you can practice the calming techniques of yoga for free.
Plus, new measures put in place for local bicyclists. How the city of Gainesville plans to spend millions on bicycle safety.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
The city of Gainesville is working to expand its safety measures for bicyclists and pedestrians. City leaders are looking to add millions of dollars to their plan to improve bike lanes in the northeast part of town. WUFT's Charlize Ramos is live in the studio with the next steps to ensure the money comes through.
After approving a grant for several $1 million, the Gainesville City Commission has allowed the city manager to move forward with adding a bike lane on Northeast 9th Street. That's near University Avenue. And the project is something bicyclists say could help keep them safe.
There are bike lanes. For the most part, people tend to, respect bikers.
Gainesville is home to a large community of bikers and pedestrians. And city leaders want to make sure everyone gets to their destination safe when sharing the road. And the demand for safety is growing, so Gainesville leaders are looking to act. The goal of the Northeast 9th Street bike installation is to give a space for the most vulnerable road users.
I think installing the bike lanes is one method to kind of possibly what we call a traffic calming device. The idea that it's making more people alert and aware that there's bicyclists on the roadway.
Target Zero, which FDOT uses to track crashes across the state, reports that this year so far there were 17 pedestrian and bicyclist injuries and 6 deaths in Alachua County.
Biking in Gainesville is a little bit weird where there's bike lanes. For the most part you are comfortable, but people, at least in my experience, I'm not the most comfortable with bike lanes. I would still prefer the sidewalk only because cars speed and they don't look where they're going.
Gainesville police say that they experience most bike crashes in areas lacking a bike lane infrastructure. So the Northeast 9th project would add buff bike lanes to a street at a cost of $2.3 million. The money would come as a grant that the city council has to approve.
The Gainesville City Manager is responsible for applying for the grant and will present the plans to the City Commission. Once the Commission approves, the City Manager will begin designing the Northeast 9th Street bike lane. Live in the studio, Charlize Ramos, WUFT News.
The Cotton Club Museum is opening a new exhibit that explores the censorship of African history through portraits. Located near Depot Park, the museum is open on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays from 11 to 4 p.m. Popular American convenience store and gas station chain Waha opens up a brand new location this morning in Ocala. This will make it Ocala's 7th Wawa location. The Philadelphia-born store continued celebrating its 60th anniversary with an accompanying ribbon-cutting ceremony.
If you're looking to try out yoga in Gainesville, here's your chance to do it for free. Gainesville Yoga Sankofa is hosting free yoga classes at Bo Diddley Plaza. It's open for everyone and kids are welcome. Yoga instructor Makita Meeks says her favorite part about teaching the classes is the people.
But the community work is really where we have our heart and community uplift and really just doing what we can for the mind, body, and soul of Gainesville's community. All the community, not just ones that can afford.
Gainesville Yoga Sankofa also teaches classes at Santa Fe College and Martin Rothschild Daycare Center. Meek says to always check with the Bo Diddley Plaza website in case hours change. You can follow Gainesville Yoga Sankofa on Facebook and Instagram or go to their website, GainesvilleYogaSankofa.com.
Francine has weakened into a post-tropical cyclone, but as this storm dies, a new storm may form off the Atlantic coast. Your forecast is next.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Although Francine is a post-tropical cyclone now, she still is a low-pressure system with winds around 25 miles per hour, still moving to the north. Right now, it's just a heavy rainmaker for the Midwest and parts of our area. This feeder rain band has kind of developed into a stronger storm that's made its way over towards our area, giving us some strong thunderstorms. Low-pressure system here kind of attached to a trough that makes its way down through North Florida, bringing us some rain on our Friday afternoon into Saturday morning. Rain chance is going to remain constant as we head into Saturday afternoon when game day is, and a Saturday night, few ounces of energy lead off into the Atlantic, which could develop into another storm. Now, this is just a low chance storm over the next 7 days, only 30%. There is also an area down by the Lesser Antilles that only has about a 20% chance. Now, we did see some strong storms this morning move through the Panhandle. Did see a couple storm reports. We did have a couple water spouts up in the Panhandle, one of which was just northeast of Santa Rosa Beach. Both of these stayed offshore, not really impacting our area, but it is still cool to see some water spouts not causing any harm. Strong storms right now over the Gulf of Mexico, some lightning, which are most stronger storms, are just offshore. Cross City, Horseshoe Beach, and Cedar Key seeing most of the rain. North of Stark seeing some stronger rain, and west of Jacksonville as well. Campus Cam in our area, though, we're seeing some dreary skies again. Temperature 79 degrees, so at least we're getting a break from the 80s and 90s, although we do have some overhead clouds and some sprinkling showers. See that as we head into those overnight hours, this rain chances start to decrease. Temperature also going to remain relatively constant in the upper 70s. Now, because of this, we do have game day, and we all know game day at 3:30 kickoff. It's going to be a hot one unless we get some rain, which we do have some isolated showers that are possible. 86 degrees going to be around kickoff, and we're going to head into the upper 70s as we head into Saturday night. Temperatures remain constant across our 7-day outlook, reaching the upper 80s. Only see 90 on Thursday, but that's because of those rain chances remaining relatively constant as we head throughout next week. Going to see some low 70s as our lows and upper 80s as our high.
Coming up in sports, we've got a full slate ahead. Gators volleyball is wrapping up action in their afternoon matchup. And Gators soccer is looking to add to the win column against Kennesaw State tonight. That and more coming up next, so don't go anywhere.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Welcome into sports. I'm Jesse Simmons. We're in the heat of soccer season, and the Gators are looking to bounce back. With possible inclement weather rolling in, our very own Ethan Eibe went to the Diaz earlier today to tell us more about tonight's matchup.
I'm here inside Disney Stadium where there's a chance for inclement weather tonight around game time as the Gators look to get back to their winning ways against Kennesaw State. Gator soccer started their season off strong, going undefeated across their first 5 matches. Samantha Bohan's squad endured its first loss of the season to the third-ranked Florida State Seminoles at home 3-0 last Sunday. Florida's 2 wins against Western Carolina and Georgia State showed that this group has the potential to make significant strides this season in Bohan's 3rd year at the helm. Lena Bailey and Vera Bloom have 2 goals apiece and have been the spark on the offensive side of the ball. Graduate goalkeeper Alexa Goldberg continues to be a brick wall in the net and has recorded 3 clean sheets already this year. SEC play starts 1 week from today, so tonight's match against Kennesaw State is a great opportunity for this group to build some momentum heading into the conference slate. Kickoff is set for 7 p.m. Reporting from Donald R. Disney Stadium, Ethan Eibe, WUFT Sports.
Another team looking to bounce back is Gators volleyball after losing in an upset to Georgia Tech. The 13th-ranked Gators continue to tumble while missing their 2 biggest pieces in Kennedy Martin and Alexis Stuckey, falling in 3-set sweep to number 15 Georgia Tech on Wednesday in Atlanta. Florida falls to 5-2 on the season despite 3 different players recording double-digit in kills and edging the Yellow Jackets in blocks. They could just never get in rhythm, losing each set by 4 or more points. Florida made a quick turnaround today in Atlanta to face Alabama State. The Gators have just finished off a sweep and it wasn't even close, holding the Hornets to no more than 13 points in each set. Another week, another quarterback confusion. Ahead of the Gators' home matchup with Texas A&M coming on Saturday, Florida staff stated that they would no longer release a weekly depth chart, but rather an availability report required by the SEC. Quarterback Graham Mertz, who missed the previous game due to concussion protocol, was not included in this week's report, thus making him fully clear for this time for a potential start this week. Standout names that did make the list, however, were top wideout Trey Wilson and edge rusher TJ Searcy, who are currently listed as questionable. These 2 names could make a big impact on Saturday's game if they aren't able to play, which is good news for Aggie fans as Texas A&M looks to break their 10-game losing skid on the road, dating all the way back to October 12th of 2021 under Jimbo Fisher. Saturday's game in the Swamp is set for 3:30. Local high school football offers a rare Thursday night game this week as the Eastside Rams host the Trinity Catholic Celtics. It's a battle to get back to 500 as both teams come in at 1-2 on the season. Both the Rams and the Celtics made the playoffs in 2023, so the 2 squads are no strangers to success and have the ability to bounce back. Tonight's kickoff in Gainesville is slated for 7 o'clock. One final note, the Pac-12 Conference is officially adding 4 teams. From our new state, Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, and San Diego State, they will make their official debut starting in 2026.
Well, on that note, let's bring it back to our state with one last look at the weather.
Yeah, so with a kickoff at 3:30, temperatures could be reaching up into the upper 80s, rain chances at 70%, although for the rest of the week, those temperatures are going to remain relatively constant. Those rain chances are going to decrease as we head into early parts of next week.
Thanks for joining us. We're back here tomorrow for another edition of First at 5.
But your North Central Florida news is always on at WUFT.org and all our social media platforms. Have a good night.